now. It's just fun. Like the only reason I'd done it was just because, like, I would have this conversation with you in the office, and I'm like, why don't I just record these things out, and then people can hear them instead of worrying about like trying to get all the content out.
Yeah.
I think people need to know that trainers just have the same conversations that people have all the time.
100%.
Right, let's get going. Right, guys, welcome to episode 2 of the Edinburgh Fitness Podcast, series 2. This week I am back with a local trainer, a trainer I've seen blossom into a top trainer. I've been wanting to have him on for a while, so let me introduce Lewis. How are we doing?
How are you doing? I'm good, mate. How are you?
I'm good. Like I say, I was quite keen to get you on because I've seen you kind of develop as a personal trainer and stuff like that, and I know you've got some great knowledge that you can deliver today and stuff like that. So we'll dive straight in. The first question I've got for you is, how bad are the Texans?
Oh, well, they're terrible when they give away their best wide receiver.
Mate,
I'm looking forward to whenever the season starts up anyway.
I've missed the NFL chat with you, but it's going to be one mad season for sure.
I couldn't slide downhill. I blame Mark Willingham.
Well, I blame him for a lot of things, to be honest. So just so people have a wee idea of who you are, can you just give people a wee elevator pitch as to who you are and what you're all about?
Yeah. Well, I started in the industry, over 5 years ago now. You were my first manager at Pure Gym Motion Terminal. It was very one-to-one based in the gym. At that point, didn't have a child, didn't have my girlfriend, so spent every waking minute in the gym. And obviously, as life goes on, and as the years went past, I've sort of transitioned. About a couple of years ago, I sort of dipped my toe into sort of online training. And then with everything that's obviously happened in the past, we're up to 5 months now, 6 months, I had to then transition into more online trainer, or the hybrid model that we were talking about, which has paid dividends, obviously, because my business is still afloat.
Yeah, good. I mean, there's definitely a few trainers that there won't be as lucky as you to say that, and it's testament to probably the work you put in before it. But yeah, it's great to see that, good guys are still surviving when people think kind of the industry is going to nosedive and stuff. So what's you say it's 5 months? I've lost track. It could be 3 years. I don't know. What's lockdown been like for you?
Right, here we go. So lockdown in a nutshell. The first 4 weeks of lockdown, week 1 to week 4, I almost took it as a little holiday and set up everything, or sort of trying to put together sort of an action plan for my clients. But beyond that, I've turned into a bit of a gaming alcoholic. That's the real life. I was up till 2 a.m. So Lily would go to bed, and then I'd be sitting there sort of looking at Danielle, thinking, any chance of me getting on Call of Duty? And I'd sit and drink 3-4 beers a night easily till 2-3 a.m. And at that point, we were, like I was saying, we were changing Lily's room about. So Lily was in the bed between us, and I just slept on the couch. I think my record was 5 nights on the couch. So that was the first 4 weeks. And then I felt terrible. My sleep pattern was shocking. My eating was shocking. The 3-4 beers a night didn't help. So from week 4 to week 14, the next 10 weeks, I've done a lot of outdoors training, all the videos and that, the wee front garden that we've got. Done a lot of training. My eating was a lot better. My sleeping was a lot better. And then the golf courses opened, and sleeping and eating still good. Training not so much, but a lot of steps on a weekly basis getting in. But I've went from doing easy 50 hours in the gym a week to becoming full-time dad, and that was it shouldn't be a tough transition, but it was. It was quite scary, if that makes sense.
Yeah, 100%.
So yeah, that's my lockdown so far.
Yeah, I think I think you've probably done what a lot of folk do, don't it? It's just when that, and initial change comes, you don't really know how to adapt it and what to do for it. And because there was no kind of end goal in sight when we first started, I think everyone did kind of go into that, not panic mode, but you know what I mean, where they just set up everything, they're like, I've got nearly everything, I'm so organised, and then it's like, then it starts steeping into reality almost, and this is what life is at the moment, and then you adapt it to a more realistic lifestyle, as to, like you say, you've always trained and stuff like that, so it was getting a training pattern that worked for that lifestyle and stuff like that. And I think a lot of people use them.
Yeah, I think for me, even going on holiday, so in the past, even going on holiday, like summer holiday, I always felt guilty. I felt like I wasn't doing enough for my clients, especially when I was away, or setting up the right action plan when I was away. The only time I never felt guilty about going away or taking a holiday, it shouldn't be like this, but was Christmas time, because everyone down tools at Christmas time, that 2 week period, everyone. So it wasn't that bad. In the first 4 weeks, because everyone was in the same boat, I didn't feel as bad. I almost felt like a holiday. Everyone's life was up in the air, so I didn't feel as guilty. But then, like you said, as time went on, you were like, this is becoming the new normal. Everyone thought, oh, it'll just be 3-4 weeks, and here we are on week 21 or whatever it is, and it's just the new normal. So you really have to change or sink, basically.
Yeah, I mean, I've been saying it all along. Is like they always said, like it wasn't like the strongest that survived like caveman days and stuff. It was those that were willing to adapt and stuff like that. And I think that's always been the case. I mean, a lot of people were saying when this is all over, but it's like nobody knew when it was going to be over. And here we are. We're, for a lot of trainers, we're still in it. So it's like if you had that mentality of I'll just down the line, I'll sort all my shit out. And it's like, well, no, you need to focus on what you can do now. Do you think the fact that you said you treated it like a holiday, do you think it was an eye opener to you that you probably were all in your business beforehand and maybe not getting that balance right?
Oh, a massive perspective change for me. Even Danielle said it, like your relationship with Lily is so much better now, because, like I said, I'm become sort of full-time dad, especially the first 4 weeks until I got my office and everything set up. Massive perspective shift. Realising that I probably did spend too much time in the gym. Even we had the discussion when obviously Lily was coming around, and hence the reason I went from shift to freelance. But I probably still didn't get it right, even though I had the 15 hours back. And when I was at home, I felt guilty because I wasn't at the gym. And if that makes any sense. But yeah, a massive perspective change for me, having that time at home. And I think if you don't get your home life right, then nothing really progresses from that. That's your foundation, and I think your business will suffer if you don't get the sort of foundations right.
Yeah,
so
and I think
for me, 100%.
I think that's probably one of the things I've seen with you, because you're so big on service and stuff like that. You've already said, you always felt like you're letting people down when you were taking holidays and stuff like that. And it's like something I kind of learned during this was you really need to focus on yourself first, and not in a selfish way, but if you're not giving people an 8 out of 10 every day or a 9 out of 10 every day, then you're actually doing them a disservice as well, because
100%.
like you say, I mean, my relationship with Madeline's probably increased so much because I've spent this time where and I realised that, I was coming home from work and I was giving her like a 3 out of 10, and then it was like, no wonder she wasn't as engaged with me as she is now, because now, my focus in the day is, right, how am I going to entertain her, what am I going to do with her, we're going to learn today, and you're giving her the best version of yourself. So like you say, get that eye opener of actually, right, I need to focus on balance so I'm happy and I'm delivering, as opposed to trying to please everyone else, is a massive kind of game changer.
It goes full circle as well. If you've got that foundation right, like you say with Madeline, for example, if you've got that foundation right, you're happier and you're just more on it with your business, And at the end of the day, you want your business to do well for your daughter and for your family. Do you know what I mean? Like, I want to progress my business to a point where I can transition again and take almost like a back step. My business is just ticking over, doing the thing, and then I get to spend even more time with Lily and obviously Danielle. But I think it goes full circle. That sort of success sort of road, or the road to success.
Definitely. Yeah, definitely. And it's like you say, it's being grateful to that the situations cause you to take a step back, because like you say, so much we're in the day-to-day things that we miss the bigger picture. That's made everyone hopefully take a step back and see things. But from a kind of non-trainer side, I think it would be quite nice to hear people hear that about you as well, because when you tie that into anything, like, people feel like they need to go all in on like their nutrition or all in on their training, and that's when they fail, is when they go all in these things, because they burn themselves out, kind of thing. Whereas when you find training, nutrition that fits into your lifestyle as opposed to the other way around, then that's when you make it work. And like you say, now you're getting that lifestyle of, this is my work time, this is my family time, and both are just as important to each other. Then you get the best version of you.
Yeah, I think you're 100% right there. I think when anyone sets a goal, they go too far, too drastic a step, too big a step, and like you say, they go all in and they burn themselves out because it's not sustainable. And what I was doing in the past probably wasn't sustainable, and hence the reason I was so stressed all the time. Like I said, I felt guilty when I was at home. Like, who does that? Do you know what I mean? But yeah, you're 100% right. And I think that's any goal you set. For example, all my clients' fat loss, or anyone that you see in the gym, they're so shocked when I give them sort of smaller, minuscule steps. They're like, "Oh, is that it? Is that it this week?" Yeah, honestly, trying to take too big a step, you're going to burn yourself out. And that's, I think, why, well, for example, fat loss, it's on paper, it's easy. The theory's easy, but if that was the case, we wouldn't have an obesity epidemic. Do you know what I mean?
Exactly.
Because people go too far, they take too big a jump, and then they burn out, and then they just cycle. So, for example, they just recycle. Oh, we'll come back to that, and they just do the same thing again. They just sort of do what they know. I'll take that big jump again. I'll drastically cut my calories, or I'll just hit the gym every day of the week for a month, and then they just burn themselves out. But you can apply that sort of rule of thumb to everything, to life. Take too big a step. Everything's small progressive steps up to your goal. But yeah, you're right.
That's it. I mean, it's so many folk are overwhelmed with everything. It's such probably a big word at the moment, overwhelm, and it's like the way you overcome that is just by breaking it down, and even your business and that. There's nothing wrong with having a big goal, but if you just leave it as a big goal, you're getting nowhere. But it's like, right, what's your 5-year goal, and then what's your 1-year goal that will get you to your 5-year goal, and then what's your 90-day goal, and then what's your 30-day goal, and then what's your week goal, and then it's go, like you say, they go, is that all I need to do?
Aye.
And it's like, yeah, just do that, but keep progressing, and you're going to get to where you want to be, as opposed to going, all right, I want to lose 4 stone and hit a treadmill, and it's like,
yeah, you just strip it back into small daily habits. The best thing I've done, or one of the books that I've got to read is that Atomic Habits. I've got a bookshelf, so that's what I've done. I've stopped up business and good books for things like that. But I just strip it back into small daily habits, because I think people get overwhelmed. You're right. If you look at, oh, this is where I've got to go, it seems almost impossible. But when you break it down in business, life, fat loss goal, for example, as soon as you break it down, it becomes so much more achievable. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, folk think they need a magic pill when it's not true. So, like I say, you predominantly deal with fat loss and weight loss and stuff like that. And as I say, that's why I wanted you on. So, right now, if I was your client, what are the kind of 3 main tips or things you like to focus on when it comes to people and weight loss?
Well, first of all, take a step back and look at your lifestyle as a whole. So we look at your job, we look at your family life, we look at your other habits, because people they've got other things on in their life, their social life. For example, do they have a curry night on a Wednesday when they go and meet their friends for a few pints? You can't then just strip everything, all the things that they'll enjoy doing back. So first of all, it's got to be sustainable and, like I said, fit into your lifestyle rather than you fitting your lifestyle around the gym. Do you know what I mean? The gym's got to just slot in nicely. And then from there, it easily filters down. As soon as you hit that first sort of foundation of it being sustainable, your adherence, your accountability, all that goes up. And then it's just like everything my clients do in the gym with me sort of takes care of itself. It's almost like say, it is like a check-in, but that stuff takes, if you've got a client that does maybe 2 hours a week, right, there's another 166 hours in the week. But you need to sort of be able to help them service, or you're able to service those additional hours where they're not with you, because that's going to make the difference. So if you can get some sort of sustainability and adherence within the rest of that, everything else takes care of itself. So for you, for example, if you were an office worker, I would look at what kind of setup that you've got in the office. Have you got a suitable chair? Things that could elicit like back pain, anything that would then trigger a reduction in your training because of injury. So you look at things like that. How many steps that you get in a day? Do you live far or away from work? Do you live close? Do you walk? Have you got any children? Have you got a partner? This, that, and the next thing. Because those are all like little chess pieces in a sort of bigger game. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, definitely. And I think one of the good things I got with this watch, and most watches will do it, is it'll remind you if you've been sitting down too long, especially if you're at work in an office, and it's like you think you might have sat down for 20 minutes, but then your thing goes off after an hour, and you're like, whoa! So it just gets me up, and it's quite easy for me because when gyms are open, like all I'll do is I can take a walk around the gym, but I mean that's a couple of hundred steps that I wouldn't have got if that wee reminder didn't set me off, kind of thing. So it's like you say, you do that 5-6 times a day, and you're already out a couple of thousand more steps than you would have been without that. And then, like you said, with regards to, can you park that wee bit further away from work, or can you walk in one day a week, or little things like that can make a drastic difference.
I think, you're 100% right. I think it comes with experience as well. As soon as you sort of get out of the sort of PT college or whatever qualification you do, you think the difference is made in the gym. Like your 1 hour, your 2 hour, your 3 hours with that client a week. I think obviously the more you see them, the more accountable that they will be. But a lot of the time, it's maybe only 1 or 2 hours, which in the grand scheme of things, if that's all you're doing, isn't enough. But again, I think that comes with experience, which as soon as you start, you think, yeah, this is going to make the difference. And then you obviously realise that actually it's everything else that makes the difference. And once you get your head around that, that's when the results really happen. And then the more results that you've got, it's easy to market yourself. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, definitely. And we'll talk about nutrition now a wee bit, and I think it was quite keen that you said like Danielle and Lily and stuff there. So, how does nutrition look like in your house? Is it quite easy to eat quite clean? Is Lily quite a good eater, or?
When Lily wants to eat, she's got a good eater. Lily will eat anything. So her favourite meal is tuna pasta. She loves it.
Really?
Absolutely loves it. But the nutrition's quite good. We do a weekly shop, or a sort of 2 weekly shop. We'll do maybe a Sunday and a Monday, and then maybe like a Thursday, Friday for the weekend, based around the same chunk of fresh meat, fresh veg, all that good or healthy, deemed healthy stuff. But it's a good variety of different things. And then we just write, Danielle or me will have different breakfasts and different lunches, but the dinners are obviously the same. So we write it, just lists. I think lists are great things. So be like, right, Monday we're having this, Tuesday we're having this,
The meal plan.
having that. Yeah, almost meal planning, and then once it's down, it's hard to veer away from that. So that you just buy the foods that you need for those specific meals. So then there's not a lot of excess, and this is where I think a lot of people have struggled during lockdown, because they are stuck in the house, so a lot less movement, but there's a lot more food available to them because they're 10 steps away from their kitchen. But we've tried to be quite good.
Yeah, no, good. I thought you froze there for a minute. That's why I was confused. And does Lily eat the same meals as you, or do you make her own things? Or?
She'll have on a day. She'll have breakfast, which could be anything. Like it could go from, oh, I don't want to eat that, just point blank refusing. You know what girls are like, point blank refusing, to having like she loves that protein yogurt. She'll have that with like berries and everything, which is quality. But then other days she's like, no, I want crisps. She eat lunchtime. She'll eat when she's with me. She eats whatever I get. Daniel's a bit of a better cook and a bit more organised than me. But she'll actually, like, honestly, she'll eat anything. She loves random things like broccoli. She just likes eating broccoli, like stems of broccoli.
Awesome.
She's a weird kid.
The reason I asked it was I think it's something that I just seen more and more being at home, is that kind of kids do what they see, not what you tell them, kind of thing. And that's probably one of the best things we've done, is Madeline pretty much eats everything we eat now. And her increase in vegetables and all that has been so much more since we've kind of purposely made her eat what we're eating, kind of thing. And I think it's a long way away, but when you look at kind of the obesity crisis, it's little changes like that which will make the difference long term to people. People don't understand that, they're telling their kids like, oh, you should eat fruit and vegetables, and then they're away having like a pizza, and then you're like,
yeah,
that's
we could dive down a rabbit hole here. I don't think anyone's nobody's born obese. Do you know what I mean? It's all those like negative habits, like we were talking about, positive habits ingrained as a child. A lot of it could be stemmed from laziness, and then there's the big article this week about healthy foods and costs, so it could come down to socioeconomic status. But the least you can do is you can definitely try, especially with your kids, because the obesity epidemic it's getting younger and younger. You see kids, but that'll be a lot to do with gaming and that, like we spoke about before. Back in the day when I was cutting about, all I had was a bike. Never had a mobile, never had a PlayStation, or I did, but it never got used. Summer holidays were just past. Obviously everyone was in lockdown, but you'd have your breakfast, you'd go out with a big 2-litre bottle of juice, like water diluting, and then you wouldn't see me and my brother again till the lights went out. That's when we got told to come home. But as you can see, kids are getting chubbier and chubbier. But it's a mixture. Like you say, we could dive down a rabbit hole. I've got quite strong opinions on that, because I think it definitely comes from the parents. If your kid's fat, like, do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
they can't cook.
It is, like you say, it's like kids are probably moving less and less these days, and the opportunity to eat more and more junk foods there, and then again we go to these extremes kind of thing, is like, we'll cut out all junk food and then wonder why like the kids won't sustain it and stuff like that. And it's like, because you're not teaching them good relationships with food. You're not teaching them the fact that they can have that, but they need to understand like the energy balance and stuff like that, and they need to be moving and stuff like that. And like, you only have to kind of look around where we are in Livingston. There used to be football pitches everywhere, and now like there's hardly any. Like the school that Madeline's going to go to used to have a massive football pitch, and now they've built an extension on the school, and then they've built the car park, and then the actual playground area is getting smaller and smaller and smaller. And then it's like, where are the kids going to run around? Where are the kids going to move? Like you say, like when I was at school, it was you played football before you went to school in the playground. You played it on your break. You played it on your lunch. You stayed after school to play football, and you were running about for 3 hours or something like that in a day. And now it's like you say, kids will get picked up. They won't even walk to school. They'll get driven, picked up, go straight back home, chuck on the Xbox, and they'll be sitting there for 4 or 5 hours.
And then that'll be them for the night. Yeah. I think I'm lucky because I've got an active kid, but I don't think that just happens by chance. I think probably because I'm extremely active. Yeah. So there you go. It's ingrained from early on. Like even Lily now, she's like, "Oh, I'll eat this because I want to be big and strong like Daddy." I'm like, "My lassie." But yeah, it's definitely ingrained. Do you know what I mean? It comes from you, and you might not even know you're doing it subconsciously. Little things that you do, little habits that you create, they'll, like you say, do what they see.
I mean, one of the best examples I've got is my little nephew Noah. He's coming up for 5, so he's just starting school. I swear to God, I have never seen anyone eat like this boy eats. Like he will, like every 10 minutes, I need something to eat. Like I took him for a walk the other day, and he's like, "I need a snack. I'm not going to make it. I'm so hungry." And it's like 4 years old. I'm like, "Calm down, drama king." But the boy does not stop moving all day. Like he runs. Like when he's in the house, he wants to play tag. He wants to run about. So like, there's hardly any fat on him. Like he's just a little boy. And it's like he's eating this food. He gets a variety of things, but he's still moving. So the energy balance is right for him. Whereas if he stopped moving and really gets into computers or something, then you're probably going to find that his weight will gain. But my sister and my brother-in-law, my sister works out in the house and exercises in the house, so Noah sees it and sees that. And then Rick's got him to, the wee football camps before lockdown and all that. So there is still in this, let's get you moving, let's get you active, let's burn up all this energy you've built up kind of thing. So it is, like you say, it's examples that we set kind of thing. So
I think because more and more of that's happening now, like you say, the obesity epidemic's getting worse and worse. It just carries on though. And if you live, so from day dot to 10 years old, right, and you start ingraining those habits, then it sort of carries on for another 20 years, and you get to 30. Like, think how hard that is to break. Do you know what I mean? Like, think how hard those bad habits are to break. You're sitting at 30 years old, you maybe weigh 2 or 3 stone overweight, but it's all you know, and it's all you've known for 30 years. Do you know what I mean? So it's no wonder we're in the situation we're in.
And then try and fix it in like 4 weeks. They try and fix it in 4 weeks. So it's like 30 years of habits, and then they get pissed off if they've not fixed it in 4 weeks.
Yeah. Like, and then you've got the knock-on effect. So this is another thing. You've got, here we go again. You've got a knock-on effect on the NHS and all the money. The amount of money they spend on obesity and people with health concerns or knock-on health concerns because of being overweight is astronomical. Like hundreds and hundreds of millions of pounds on something that they can take control of, but in the right way, if that makes sense. Whereas people that are unlucky to get things that like you can't really control, things like cancer, even though that obesity can relate to different types of cancers, you don't have much control over that. Fit and healthy people can get cancer. For me, I've got personal opinion, really strong opinions on this. Like those areas should be massively funded, and I think a lot of funds go towards things that people can take control of in some aspect, which is it's terrible.
Yeah, no, I think you're 100% right. And I mean, I'm just throwing a random number. It's not an actual statistic, but you've got to think about 80-90% of those cases are treatable by the person themselves if they stand up and take that their own accountability. But they don't. They blame it on other avenues and external things. And the thing that I've seen a lot of people saying at the moment, going, "Oh, it's a joke that the government are opening up things like fast food restaurants and they're not opening the gym and stuff like that." And it's like, well, first off, they've opened restaurants. Like, they can't exactly turn around and say, well, this restaurant can open and this one can. But
Yeah.
just because they've opened it doesn't mean you have to go to it. Do you know what I mean? It's like,
Yeah.
do you know,
Yeah.
you can blame the government all you want for being overweight, but sooner or later you need to look in the mirror and go, what am I doing and what could I be doing better?
Mhm.
And like,
Oh, you're right. I was on a Twitter thread the other day, and it was about that, somebody complaining, oh, I can't believe this is opened and that's opened and the gym's not opened. But like you say, you don't have to go there. Like, you can still work out. You might not have any equipment, you can still work out. You can still get that endorphin release, and but I can see why it's hard, because you argue, there's arguments for and against. Like, I woke up the other morning, I was feeling stressed out my box. It was pouring down. I went and ran a 5k. Immediately felt better. Like, you can still take control. Yeah, I got wet, but I came home, had a shower, changed my clothes, dry again, felt better. Do you know what I mean? You can still. There is an element of control that you can take. You don't have to just go by, for example, what's open. But yeah, 100%.
and it's like you said earlier as well, is I think when the problem people get is they create this overwhelm for themselves that, like, they wait till something gets really extreme before they try and fix it. And then they'll go, right, that's it. Like, I don't care if McDonald's and all that's opening. I'm never having another takeaway again for the next like 8 weeks, and no alcohol, no sweets, no nothing. And then 4 weeks into it, they binge and then they feel terrible. And it's like, well, how about instead of doing that, we just break it down, like you said, to your manageable daily things, and give yourself those kind of, not treats, but you know what I mean? There's like having that better relationship with yourself and your food, that if they have that takeaway, it's not the end of the world because they've done another 9 good things out that week, as opposed to had 3 takeaways, they've had 1 takeaway, or little things like that make such a difference.
Yeah, I think as well. I've done a video. It was about one of my fat loss tips was about the reward system, how people feel they have to be rewarded. Whereas actually just take a step back and think, no, this is just a part of life. Like going out for a couple of beers, it's just a part of life. Rather than feeling like you deserved it, yeah, you've had a good week, but it's not a case of being like, oh, I've had a good week, I can then go and do this. It's just, this is a part of my life, along with me doing well, if that makes sense. They don't have to reward themselves at the end of the week. And this is why so many people struggle, because they're two polar opposites. So Monday to Friday afternoon, they're like on it. Friday evening to Sunday night, they chuck it because they think, oh, I've had such a good week, I can reward myself by going out and getting tanked up and eating all the crap under the day. And that's because it's polar opposites. It's not sustainable. Whereas you just try and average it throughout the week, with life, with calories, with all their goals, with their gym, with their work. Take a sort of average across the week of everything, and it'll be a lot more successful because they're able to sustain it.
Yeah, it's like you say, it's realistic, especially like yourself, and I quite like that because you do posts when you're having a beer and stuff like that, and it's to show people that just because you're a trainer doesn't mean you never drink alcohol, or you're a young lad and that, and you want to go out with your mates, you want to have beers, and you don't have to sacrifice your life for this, because if you sacrifice your life for this short-term goal, you're just going to go back to your old habits after it's over, because you've given yourself this window of like nothing happy in your life, and then you're probably going to come out the other side worse, because you're then going to do it more and more and more.
That just goes full circle as well. Bear in mind what we just said. Like, if you've got habits that have built up over 20 years, you can't then just go and change. But you're right. I think that comes down to knowledge as well. So it's easy for me to go out and have a few beers because I've got the knowledge and sort of education, being like, I know, like, if I put on a few pounds of fat, I know what I need to do and what to do sustainably to then shed that again. Like, whereas other people, I've done another post that was doing what you know or knowing what to do, and a lot of people just do what they know or what they think they know. My biggest gripe with fitness industry and the gyms and that is about January time or December, January time. You've got, it's, oh, get fit this January, and it's this person on a treadmill with like picture smiling on their face. Nobody smiles when they're on the treadmill. Do you know what I mean? But that's subconsciously ingrained. Well, that's what I need to do. I need to go to the treadmill because that'll help me. That'll help shed the fat. And then they'll just pound the treadmill for 6 weeks and then have inflamed knees, and then they'll not be able to walk for a week, and then they just fall off the wagon. But I think that's it's knowledge for people to achieve their goals.
Yeah, and it's funny because like it's probably 9 years that I've been in gyms now, and I tell folk about the January rush, and they're like, "Oh, is it really still like that?" And it's like it's been the same all 9 years. It's like you say, everyone comes in, and then come March time, it starts to die down, and it's a cycle, and it's like you say, it's because the knowledge isn't there. It's the guilt trip at themselves all through Christmas, and I shouldn't be having this bit of cake, or I shouldn't be doing this, or shouldn't be doing that. I'll start it in January, and like you say, you see it all the time, and people joke about it in the January rush and all that, but it happens all the time. I mean, memberships boom in January, and gyms obviously market for it, rightfully so, but it's people.
But that's why all the cardio, but that's why all the cardio equipment, it's almost like subliminal messaging, because all the things you see is some person sitting on or running on a treadmill or sitting on a bike with a big smile on their face being like, get fit this January, come join here. And they're like, well, that's what I need to do. I need to go and run on a treadmill, and that's it. You do what you know rather than actually knowing what to do.
Yeah, exactly, 100%. Which ties in nicely to my next point. So, what's some of the kind of excuses you hear from people when it comes to they want to lose weight and they're not losing weight? What's kind of some of their reasoning?
The best one is they've not got enough time. So one of my videos was people that don't have enough time, and I think this is ties in with what we were saying about everything else rather than just their time in the gym. So I broke it down like anything. I said, well, there's 100 and I hope my maths was right. There's 168 hours in a week. I'm only asking you to do 5 hours of exercise, broken down into it could be half an hour segments, it could be 45-minute segments, or in 5-hour sessions. But I broke it down. I said your average working week's maybe 40 hours. Even if you do more, 50 hours. You want to sleep like 7-8 hours a night, so there's 56 hours. And I whittled it down. You've got family time, you've got Netflix and chill time, you've got all this, and it's still left like I think it was like 22 hours of just miscellaneous. And I'm saying, right, within that, do whatever you want, but give me 4 or 5 of them. So I think that's probably the biggest one. I don't have time to do that. I don't have time to do this. I think that's probably the biggest excuse. And I think the one that we just touched on is knowledge. And I don't think that's anybody's fault, but I think as a coach, you've just got to assume that they, as a blank canvas, they don't have the knowledge in nutrition or training. And then you've got to supply that to them and service them so they can then achieve their goals. But yeah, time's a big one. I think it's probably just down to time management. So that's another thing you can sort of help them with. Like, as the loads of times I've sat down in a consultation been like, right, this, get like the weekly schedules that we used to have, and then actually fill one in for them, and they actually take, and it allows them to take a step back, because they get caught up in the day-to-day as well, and they look, oh, actually I can train here, or I can train in the morning, or actually I don't do anything here on a Friday afternoon, whereas I normally just get home, sit on the couch, watch crappy telly, flick through Instagram. Actually, if I just come straight from work, that's achievable, and it's not out with the realms of possibility. So yeah, time's the big one, but I think there's loads of underpinning factors to that.
I think that's a really good one, because like you say, it's something that so many folk will think, and you're probably right. Again, it ties into the knowledge, because they think they have to sacrifice everything else in their life to really go in their training, and it's the knowledge that they don't need to. They only need to commit, a couple hours a week and stuff like that, and that kind of time management, I think, is a big one. Somebody told me once, is like, show me somebody that says they don't have any time, and I'll show you an empty plan, or like an unorganized person, because like the busiest people in the world still have the same amount of time in their day. But it's, again, as a trainer, which you touched on earlier, which is good, is you're understanding that they have work and they have family time, and they need to have their Netflix and chill time, as opposed to like an old school trainer would be like, well, scrap that time and scrap this time and all in. You're going, right, you do have time. You just need to understand where it fits into your lifestyle. And like you say, is you let them go, well, actually, I could go here or I could go there. They've done it. And then probably the other thing, which is good there, is, which I presume you'll do, is when they're in that moment, they diary that into their schedule. And I think that makes a difference as well, as to if you left it open-ended to, right, I need 4 hours a week from you, exercise, it'll get put off, it'll get put off, it'll get put off. Whereas if you go, let's look at your schedule, oh, here's your time, and they go, right, diary then, it's more likely to happen, kind of thing. So
no, that's exactly why I give them the sort of time management sheet. Exactly what you just said there, and what we said prior. It's got to fit their goals. Have got to fit into their lifestyle rather than trying to squash their lifestyle around their goal. And if you can slot that in nicely with everything else that they've got going on, and like you've got to understand people as well. You can't just come to a class. You've got to understand that they have got family time. Me and you'll understand it more than ever because of our situations with our daughters. They want to spend time with their family. It's not, you're not saying, oh, give up this for this. So and like this goes right back to the very start, what we're saying, if their foundation's better and solid, they're more likely to achieve their goal. Yeah. I mean, I don't want to say, oh, actually, you need to go to the gym here, for them to then go home and get at the neck or feel crap because they've not seen or put their daughter to bed. Do you know what I mean? Like, and I know this from personal experience. You will. I've got up, for example, Monday morning. I used to have a 6 a.m. session in the gym, and then Monday night, my last session was 8:30 till 9:30. So I could go from a Sunday night not seeing Lily till a Tuesday night when I got back in from the gym, which is terrible to not see the most important person in your life for over a day. Yeah. And that made me feel crap. And you've just got to relate to people. It's going to be the exact same situation if you try and squash this, no, give up this, give up this, give up that, and you will achieve it. Well, yeah, but you might feel crap about it, or you might not achieve it because everything implodes.
Yeah, definitely. Right, we're chatting nearly 45 minutes now, believe it or not. I'm going to wrap up with a question I kind of asked quite a few of the guests. So give me one good thing and one bad thing about the industry as a whole at the moment.
One good thing and one bad thing.
You probably done the bad thing a bit better than the good thing, but
I've got a lot. There's a lot of bad. Don't get me wrong. There's good people in the industry that want to help, but I think they all come from not being bad, if that makes sense. So I'll highlight the bad. For example, we're deemed as health professionals, right? Alongside things like physios, chiropractors, doctors, nurses. We're all sort of under the same umbrella as health professionals. But to become a PT, you do a 6-week, sometimes 4-week unfailable. Like, it is unfailable. It's easy to get through. Even if you're a half-wit, you'd get the degree, whereas, or the qualification, whereas things like physios and doctors, for example, 7 years at uni. Physios, 4 years plus maybe another year of some sports science thing. So you just get a churn rate. You're just churning out people that it's easy enough to do. The qualifications are getting cheaper and cheaper. They might not even know what they want to do. So that's bad. Lack of education. This will all go well for the good. So lack of education. People don't want to invest to do the 6-week qualification. Like, the amount of money I spent on additional it must be close to about £10,000. Like, your PN course, your full advanced coaching academy course, your health and science Advanced nutrition, sports specific nutrition advisor course is another one I'm lining up. Plus your original, I done, I think, probably one of the best qualifications. So you had all that foundation, plus being at uni doing biomechanics and that meant physiology and education studies through my PE teaching. So people don't get that from their 6 weeks. Do you know what I mean? And then they just don't want to invest. Other bad stuff. I think the industry or people that definitely work together have to come together as a whole. We're all, like say, there's an obesity epidemic. There's enough clients out there, but I think it can be quite bitter and jealous. And I think there's a lot of bitchiness, which I don't like. I sort of, you'll have seen it yourself, I sort of keep myself to myself. I come in, do my thing, go away. But there can be a lot of jealousy. I don't really understand it because, like you said, there's enough clients out there for everyone. Just control what you can control. And I think it's probably why I didn't do a lot of the things that I should have done, because I was fear of being judged. And that the fear of being judged and people talking behind my back and everything like that. Whereas I think that happens quite a lot. But if you just control what you can control and you're confident in what you do, then that's absolutely fine. And you see a lot of fakeness in that on Instagram and people just doing things for likes and everything like that. So I think that seems like there's a lot of bad. There's a lot of bad. But on the back of that, the good is people that educate themselves, that actually want to help, that spend a lot of money on their education, those people stand out. And it's evident that they stand out. So there is good people that want to help others, and that genuinely want to help others, and they don't do it. Like this industry can provide a good lifestyle, because if you got a good business model, it can be very profitable. But that comes to those that have invested in themselves, that do care, that are clued up on what they want. So that's the other side. A lot of the good comes from the bad, or the opposite of the bad, like educating themselves and everything like that. So yeah, I feel like I went really negative there, but there is a lot of...
You're real negative.
It comes down to that, though. It comes down to that churn rate, though. And it's a gripe I've had since day dot, like 6 weeks in and out. And that's why the PT turnover is so high. Somebody's got a list on their phone. It was like, on the 5 years I've been at Pure, it's like, I think it's close to about 50 PTs. There's no other industry that'll have that. It's absolutely mental.
I think it's quite interesting there, isn't it? Because you kind of said, like, one of the things that's wrong with the industry is kind of the education. And then we're talking about people on their weight loss journey, they're struggling because of the lack of education. Mm-hmm. And the exact same reasons are what's affecting both. And you're right. I mean, I'm not going to diss the 6 week courses, because a lot of trainers I've seen come out of 6 week courses have done amazing. But there's also a lot of rubbish in it. And it's the same way people that went to uni. There's a lot of amazing trainers that went to uni, but there's also a lot of rubbish. And it's not the ones that necessarily come out of the course. It's the ones that continue to learn after they come out. It's the ones that come out and go, that's it, I'm a PT now, I'm good to go. Yeah. Whereas, like you said, I mean, you just reeled off how many courses you've completed since you've done your course. And that's what I've seen is, like, you know, being a manager and doing one-to-ones with a lot of trainers is when I ask them how they're further developing themselves, and they're like, oh, I'm doing this course or I'm doing that course, and you're like, yeah, they're gonna stay in the industry. Yeah. The other ones that won't, and it ties back to that kind of fixed and growth mindset, doesn't it? Is the fix will be the bitter and the jealous ones, and they'll be so set in their ways they won't adapt to clients, they won't further educate themselves. But the growth mindset, it goes, right, what do I need to learn, and how do I help people better, and how do I grow as a person, and they're the ones that grow. So, like you say, it's definitely valid points that you added there for the good and the bad. So
I think definitely the good comes off the back of the bad. Like you say, I think just there is good PTs out there, but it's those are the ones that apply themselves and they further their education and they want to do things. Those are just the big courses that I've done. There's loads of 1 and 2 day, like for example, the underground strength, the range of movement, all those qualifications that are they're 1 day, they're long 1 days, but you do them, you come away learning so much, and it's just that willingness to apply yourself and give up a day, rather than being like, actually I can fit 4 or 5 clients in, that pays dividends. It snowballs. I think with the education side, it massively snowballs. And like you said, it's that knowledge. If you get that knowledge, you can then apply that knowledge to your clients and help them understand, and then the results double.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? If you've not got that knowledge, you can't apply it.
Yeah, and again, like I say, with that fixed and growth, is like you say, those in courses and that money you spoke about there is an investment, and you've seen that as an investment to make yourself better. Whereas in a fixed mindset, they go, I can't afford that course, or that's too expensive, or I don't want to do that. But then they're telling clients to invest in them. And it's like somebody said to me before, is like, if you're a coach who doesn't have a coach, you don't value coaching. And it's true. It's like you're doing these additional courses to better yourself. So it's maybe not directly a one-on-one coach, but you're still learning, developing. So how can you ask somebody to invest in you if you're not willing to invest in yourself?
Yeah. Well, I've got things lined up for after this. When gyms reopen, just due to some of the equipment that I want, that I'm going to invest in, for that exact reason, get myself a coach. Well, there's another thing. My flexibility's been shocking, so I invested it in that Sonny Webster, his range of mobility, range of movement, his sort of planning online platform. After my 4-week binge on Call of Duty, I thought that was one of the things I wanted to get better at or work at, and that's what I invested in it, and it's paid dividends. Can't quite touch my hamstring, but my shoulder mobility and everything, that's probably helped with the golf. It's so much better. But yeah, and I think it does everything. If you invest in something correctly, you have a return on investment, which is, you say you spend £1,000 on a nutrition course, that then directly helps you with your nutrition side of your training for your clients, which then gets better results, which then leads to 20. You get one result that leads to 20 new leads and 5 new clients, for example. There you go. You've got your return on investment. They 5 clients stay with you for 6 months. You'll have made more than what you paid for your course. Do you know what I mean?
Definitely. What about that Sonny Webster stretch? Was it the runner stretch where he gets you to open out your hips with the leg to the side? You tried that one?
It was the mobility manual.
Aye, that's the one I'd done. But it's my hips that are really tight. It made such a difference. But oh my word, some of the stretches had me, and I was like, whew, I need to work
my ankle mobility is shocking. My shoulder mobility and my thoracic mobility is shocking as well. So I overcompensate and things like the squat by leaning forward, because I can't get my knee further enough forward over my toes. So things like that, it's brilliant. It's that adherence. You've got something that you're accountable for, and that's why people invest. They might know what to do, but they're not accountable to themselves. So they get a coach from. For example, I've had people training with me from being in a wheelchair, just beginning experience to professional athletes. I've trained a wide variety of people, but it's that accountability that people need. Do you know what I mean? They might know what to do. Every coach, every famous person, professional athlete will have a strength and conditioning coach, and that's what I say in consultation. If these people need it, why would an average Joe need one? You can make an argument for every person that steps in the gym to get a coach, including personal trainers. I've always said that if I ever injured myself, or I'd get, rather than feeling sorry for myself, I'd pay somebody, like pay a physio, or I'd pay another trainer to train me, because the likelihood of me doing it myself may be low if I'm feeling down because I've got an injury.
100%, my man. And again, that's probably could open up another whole topic there, but we'll wrap it up now, just because we're coming close to it.
Hours,
Where can people find out more information about you?
On Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter, Pursuit of Fitness PT. I'm probably most vocal on Instagram or my Facebook page. That's all linked together. But yeah, Instagram is probably the best way to contact me. All my contact details there, my wee link tree, any of the services you can fill in a form, have a wee look at my transformation reel or my home workout reel or my fitness facts reel or anything like that. And just general questions. I'm just happy to help. There's no strings attached. If you've got a question, I'm happy to answer it.
Awesome, my man.
As long as I'm not on the golf course, because I'm playing golf this afternoon.
Aye, look at you, man. I need to get back out on the course though. Right, guys. Lewis, thanks very much for coming on, guys. That was episode 2. I hope you enjoyed it. And I shall see you on the next episode soon.